happy National Punch Day, and welcome back to the Sandlot Cast. And look what you made me do. You remember that, right, guys? Hey, with me this week, I've got Hillers. What's up, Hillers?
Hey. Yeah, I didn't know it was National Punch Day. So glad I'm not any little brother in any road trip in America today.
Yeah, it could be that punch, or it could actually be like the punch you drink, either one. So, Nick, which kind of punch do you prefer?
Donkey?
Donkey punch? Solid punch choice.
Say it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we are just blowing right past the PG rating right now.
Yes. We got that one out of the way.
We are clearly in the R rating, and iTunes will not host us, and we are what we are.
So guys,
they were.
I think the news that iTunes will not host us is out there. Has been out there for some time.
Were we on iTunes at one point? Like, didn't we?
That was back when we did audio. That was 8 years ago. We're on video now.
Oh, by the way, our Kerwin-Williams pickup prediction was finally correct. Just a week later than we thought it would be.
Just on the next waiver thing. What did he go for?
$25.
I said he'd go for like 30. Yeah.
To Brett.
Well done, Brett.
Yeah, you get out there,
to the podcast on Wednesday or on Friday.
Yeah.
Basically, he just got to it late and was like, "What? Still available?"
You know what? In his defense, I did I had a bid on him for $17. I'm glad I lost, but
yeah,
I had a bid on him for $17.
Brett had to wait until they picked up Chris Johnson to pick up Kerwin-Williams. Anyway, I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to do like funny news articles and stuff. Little cold opens to open the podcast, but then we got lazy and we stopped doing it, and we just ran out of stuff. So anyway, kind of an interesting one, guys. And I want you guys to kind of close your eyes and envision. You're out in your front yard, you're playing with your kids or your dog or whatever, and all of a sudden you look over and someone's taking a dump right in your lawn. You say, and your kids say, "What are they doing? What are they doing, Daddy?" And you go over to the person and say, "Come on, what's going on? What's the deal here?" And it's a runner. So I get it. Sometimes you're running or whatever, you got to stop and go. You could, whatever.
Yeah, because you run so much, you need to
because that's what we are, is a bunch of runners.
Come on.
But
no American citizen in this country right now runs.
Colorado Springs, Colorado has a mad pooper on the loose. This woman every week stops at this one spot in this one yard and takes a dump in these people's yard.
Well, that's not mad then. That's a vendetta right there. If it's only 1 yard every time, that's not mad. That's not random. That's not a crime wave. That's vengeance. I know I hate you. I'm going to
It's not. They don't know her. Yard. They have no idea who she was.
Oh, well, they may not know her, but I bet she knows them.
Well, that's possible. But so she took a picture. They posted flyers, and she leaves the dirty paper towels in the yard, and
so she wipes. That's good.
Yeah, but
that's even worse. To be like, I could have cleaned it and chose not to.
What would you guys do in the situation? How would you guys handle that?
Automated defense turrets, maybe paintball turrets at least.
All right. This one's for Anthony. I mean, it's a shitty situation all around, so I don't know.
Oh, zing zing.
There you go, Anthony.
So,
there's your pun of the week.
Anyway, Colorado Springs, Colorado, we feel for you. Specifically,
I don't know.
Kathy Budd, who says her children were the first people to catch the jogger in the act, squatting with her shorts down.
I tell you,
wow.
It sounds like they did something awful to that woman. They cut her off in traffic or something.
It was like a local news story. They had talking about it on the local news. There's videos and stuff about it. It is hilarious.
Can we change the toilet bowl award to the shitting on your lawn award?
We could. I can just imagine the local news guys sitting there, they're reporting on this, or they're like, "Hey, we need you to go do a story." He's like, "Okay, what is it? What is it? Am I investigating some kind of like embezzlement or bank fraud, or what am I doing?"
Local woman poops.
Someone's pooping in someone's lawn constantly. Like, this is not why I got into journalism, guys.
Can you just send me on a hurricane, please?
Anyway, all right. This week, since we got the whole crew here, we're gonna switch it up, do a kind of different. What's the word I'm looking for, Hillers? English guy, give me a word.
Dynamic media coverage.
There you go. A different dynamic media coverage. Thank you. So we're going to go over the team overviews, but we're going to do it in a good cop, bad cop format. And those cops are going to be Hillers and Nick. And then I'm going to be the judge. So in the American legal system, There are
It is
two.
going to be Judge Dredd. We're both getting shot at the end of this. That's what makes it
Spoiler alert.
dynamic.
In the American legal system, there are two sides to justice. The cops that arrest you. No, anyway. Is that the Law and Order thing? Is that how that goes?
I don't think they say that there are two sides to justice.
What did they say? There are two what?
A different view.
There are two.
Two
Yeah, there's
the
the
sides of the law,
cops
elements of the law, or something
Yeah,
like that.
elements of the law, I think is what it is. Yeah.
I don't think that's right either.
Police who arrest the criminals and then the prosecutors or something. Anyway, right into the show at sandlotcast@gmail.com and tell us the Law and Order thing because we certainly can't look that up on our own.
No one knows what it is.
No, that's the SVU. For some reason, they've got the opening to the SVU, but none. In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's what we have. You guys are one group and I'll be the other.
Well,
except,
we're not equally important.
No, you're right. I'm way more important than you guys. But
Fun fact, real quick before we get started, because this is where my mind went. Dredd 2 is actually rumored to start being in production soon because we're talking about Judge Dredd with Carl Urban.
So then I could just do the podcast on my own if we wanted to go with that.
We could.
Because I am the law. So
I'll take Carl Urban in a fight over you for 500, please.
So we're going to run through the teams, and then we're going to do our power rankings, and then we're going to be done. And 2.5 hours from now, you're going to say, what did I just do with the last 2.5 hours of my life? That said, let's get started here, gentlemen.
All right.
We're going to start.
What could go wrong?
Mini game updates we got to start with, by the way. We didn't do that last week. So I went through and I compiled those. Had a little time on my hands earlier today. And,
Obviously.
Week 1 was our highest scoring bench. And spoiler alert, the podcast hosts are killing it in the mini games. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. We are freaking killing it in that nobody else has really won anything. So anyway, week 1 highest scoring bench was Nick, who put up 74.7 points on his bench. Fun fact, his starting lineup only put up 66. So congrats to you on that one, Nick.
Hey, I do what I can.
Week 2 was highest scoring player. Hillers, any idea who that was?
Was it Mr. Tom Brady?
It was Mr. Tom Brady for 33.7 points.
Can you imagine if quarterbacks had gotten just scoring, he would have had like 70 points.
Yeah. Just is one word for it. So are we
3 more than what he has right now.
Right. Are we still doing
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, but we only lowered touchdown scoring by 1 point per touchdown.
4 points more.
Yeah. Are we still doing the positional season-long ones? I know we lowered our entry fee. Did we ever decide on how we were going to dole out prizes?
We'll need to talk to Anthony about that, and that's something that we really should have discussed before going on air. But we've just lowered. You just lowered.
Even if we have to make them $1.
Commissioning is so half-assed these days. In the previous administration, this shit was all handled.
We're trying to give more money.
Everybody knew the schedule.
We're not trying to do big government here. We're trying to reduce the size of government, give more money back to the people.
No. It's bigger because it's incompetent now, and you got to go back and do it 3 times.
So anyway, teams.
You want your handouts. You freaking welfare queen. Anyway, so the positional high-scoring ones we're going to run through quick.
I do want my handouts.
Hillers, do you know who the highest-scoring QB game is this year?
Is it Tom Brady again?
It's Tom Brady again.
Oh! Yeah, I remember texting people in the first quarter. He's on pace for 12 touchdowns. Greatest game in football history.
The only time Hillers texted anyone was during that game.
Nick, any idea who has the highest scoring game for a running back this year?
For the with Kareem Hunt.
There you go, Kareem Hunt with 40.6 points. Fun fact, I actually lost the game when my running back scored 40 points. Wide receiver. Hillers, any idea which wide receiver?
Is it Crabtree?
It's Michael Crabtree. Hillers is the winner there.
All cylinders. Well, it's easy when it's my team.
So far, winners are Nick, Hillers, Merrill, Hillers. Tight end. Nick, any idea who has the highest scoring tight end game this year?
Gronk last week.
It is Gronk for Nick at 17.6 points. So far, we have Nick, Hillers, Merrill, Hillers, Nick. Fun fact, Austin Hooper actually had a higher scoring day, but he was on Grimes' bench. So that kicker, highest scoring kicker, you guys wouldn't know this one. It's EBS with Dan Bailey, 15 points, but another former podcast host anyway. Defense and special teams. Nick, any idea who had the highest scoring defense this year?
I think it's the Rams, but if you told me it was the Jaguars or the Ravens.
By Nick with 30 points. And the highest scoring bench player is Patty, Carson Wentz at 25.7 points.
It's always a quarterback.
Well, the three of us will take that over. Don't worry.
Yeah, one of us will get those two. So.
No, I don't think so. I've got Brian Hoyer on my bench. You're definitely not getting backup quarterback points. You can't even get regular quarterback points.
So anyway, we'll track those, and we'll try to keep you guys up to date on those as the weeks go on. But anyway, it's been too long of an intro. Let's get into team overviews here, gentlemen. We're going to start in the Scotch division, also known as Murderer's Row, this year because this division is brutal.
It's harder than I thought it would be.
So glad I'm not in that division.
Yeah, you and me both.
And we'll start at the top like we always do with the Duplex, who are 3-0. They are averaging 102 points per game this year. Now the standings score or the standings page on the website has a different number, but that's because we did doubleheader. So I took the doubleheader factor out and I just shed one game each week, and that's your average. So Jordan Reed is injured for this team. John Brown injured for this team. John Brown will not play. Jordan Reed may play this week. We're going to let Nick go first here. Nick, are you taking the role of, well, you don't have to tell us. You can just tell us what you think about this team and take the role of good cop or bad cop.
Okay. I'm going to say, put your phone down, Dave. Stop recording me because you don't know what the laws are, and I do because I'm a cop. So stop recording me. Your team's horrible. You're off to a good start because you're so, fancy with your whole thinking you're so much smarter than everyone else, but you're really not. So just stop. Just stop. This is a horrible team. You're off to a fast start because of how bad the offenses are, and your offense has been less bad than what all the other bad offense has been. Like, yeah, you may have Derek Carr, but seriously, put your phone down, stop recording me, and just know your role, stay in your lane, go back down to being mediocre. That's where you belong.
Do we need to explain to Nick how cops work?
That is how cops work. I'm a bad cop.
He's the bad cop, yeah.
You are bad at it.
I am. Shut up. Okay.
All right, Hillers.
Oh, do I need? Okay.
No, man, that's your spiel. That's all you get.
That's your spiel. Yeah, and I would say, don't worry about it. If smartness is titles, then you've clearly got something figured out that the rest of us don't. Don't worry if you're a little too reliant on your kicker and your defense right now. The lineup is still solid. You got plenty of good people to go back on. C.J. Anderson is people that you can believe in. Terrence West seems to be doing fine. Beyond all expectations, you're still doing really good with those players. Do I understand why? No, but I don't have to. Don't be too terribly worried at all the questionables and doubtfuls in your lineup. I'm sure we'll figure out something over time. And, Jordan Reed wasn't going to work out anyway. The Redskins, they're bad. Julius Thomas by himself, that'll be fine in the long term. Don't worry. I'm sure 93 points a week is something we can always expect continuously throughout the season. Probably a fourth championship is. Why would it not be? There's no reason.
I give Nick the victory for style points. Well done, Nick.
Thank you.
I can scream too.
He really committed to that one to start out. I feel like he had it queued up for a while, but he really committed.
I really didn't.
You can't be a good cop and match that level of vigor.
That's true. That's true.
It's impossible. That's not what a good cop is for.
You had one hand behind your back there, though. So anyway.
I did.
All right, let's move on to EBS here. EBS finds themselves at 2-1. They are averaging 99.3 points per game. They, sorry, I'm getting texts in the middle of the podcast. I'm very professional. They have lost Allen Robinson for the season, but picked up Paul Richardson to fill that role.
That'll fix it.
You know what? As good as Allen Robinson was last year, or not good, that might be okay. Might actually balance out. So anyway, we're going to let Hillers take the lead here.
We know about you, Anthony, and you disgust me. I cannot believe that you can even go out in public trying to pretend to be an acceptable, civil part of society when you know that you are banking on the corrupt influences of Dan Bailey and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. You don't think they're going to turn on you in a heartbeat? They will turn on you in a heartbeat. Ty Montgomery will leave you stranded this season, and you are going to be ruining the day that you pretend to be able to compete in this division. Antonio Brown is totally insufficient to the need of your wide receiver core, which is disgusting and a drain on our entire society. You're done here. You're done here. I'm going to throw the book at you. You're going to lose the whole season and probably be the worst player that we have ever seen.
Okay.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Anybody
I
want
want
to
to
play?
apologize for my co-host there, what his demeanor and his verbiage on the way he treated your team, Anthony. But I think that even if you factor in a regression for Matt Ryan, I still think that rolling Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford out as your number one quarterback on a week in and week out basis is fine. They say that if you have two quarterbacks, that you have no quarterbacks. I think that in your situation, you'll be fine either way. I think that you just have to lock into one and just keep rolling with it. I think having Marlon Mack and Ty Montgomery in your back pocket is really good for right now because someone needs to do something on the Packers offense, and Ty Montgomery is going to be that guy because he seems to be the only one that's healthy at the moment with Amir Abdullah going on, and he seems to be sort of kind of hitting his stride right now. I think it's kind of a toss-up between Theo Riddick and Abdullah right now. There's only been 2 weeks, so you don't really know what's going to pan out there. But you have one of the two guys, and through 2 weeks, your guy did something 1 week. So that's at least Abdullah's not getting 0 for 2 weeks in a row. So Abdullah's shown that he has use in that offense. You have Antonio Brown, who is hands down the number one player in fantasy football, as it is. Your other wide, and Michael Thomas. I think the Saints just need to get clicking. I think that there's going to be a lot of changes going on mid-season in New Orleans, which is going to help the offense out a bit. The Pittsburgh defense is improving, and Pittsburgh will be fine. You have a decent kicker. You have a run-of-the-mill tight end.
All right.
All in all, I like it.
We're not just going to turn this into run down the lineup and tell me about every single player on the roster here, all right?
Point of order, Michael Crabtree is the best wide receiver as it is.
Wow, Hillers, I was going to give it to you, and then there was that.
I'm just saying, I was incorrect.
All right, Hillers still wins. I think I like the bad boys. I think that's where this is going here. I don't know. This is
yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Choops are next.
That's what he
scores
said.
1-1, gentlemen. Choops are next.
I feel like it's going to be tied.
They find themselves at 2-1. They were averaging 93.6 points per game. That's right around the middle. I forgot to actually rank the averages, but side note here, they've scored 93.6 and 93.5 points in the consecutive weeks. So that seems to be their wheelhouse right around there. So if you can score 94 points, you'll beat this team. This week he started both Panthers running backs, which is an interesting strategy, but I guess it's kind of working out for him. And sat Emmanuel Sanders, which kind of killed him. But we're going to start with the Choops here and go Nick first on this team.
I like him. I think he's legit. I think that JD's been putting his time in, and it's been a couple of years, but he's been slowly and methodically building a team.
Is this how you play good cop?
What?
Is this how you play good cop?
This is how you play good cop. I am playing good cop right now. I think that he's been building a team, and I think his team is finally starting to pay off a little bit. I don't know if this is the year that he finally goes over that 500 mark, but this is definitely the year where he makes the biggest leap of improvement. And I think that I don't know what he was last year, so he was 500 last year. But I think that JD's team is on the upside, and depending on how his players play out this year, I think that he has a contender for next year too, depending on what happens, like when that trade deadline comes along, where he is. Does he make the move to try to get into the playoffs and win, or does he try to say, okay, this isn't my year, but I'm going to build up, I'm going to do that. I like where his team is going. I like where it's headed. He's scoring consistently enough consistent points to win every week, and that's all that matters.
All right, Pillars.
This is a team that proves that 2 games mean nothing in this league. Nothing whatsoever. If you're to look at them right now, you say, oh, look at all the good players. Look at the wealth of choice on receivers. But this is a lie. The only consistently decent thing on this team is Phillip Rivers, which no one has ever wanted for years. You know, Devonta Freeman, maybe he's on the cusp. Everybody else, total unproven. It's bad cop, Merrill. Shut.
Okay.
Total unproven. Gonna fail you by the end of the season. You you've definitely got one game great examples on all these players, and that's exactly what we're seeing here is one game great. They were one game great early on in the season, last season in many cases, and that's where they're going to stay. If Emmanuel Sanders was any kind of decent, reliable receiver, we would know about it by now. If Jeremy Maclin was going to be a top 5 receiver, that would be a known fact.
All right, I'm going to stop you. You're embarrassing yourself.
Thank
lose
you.
this argument. Your argument
Woohoo,
makes
good
no
guy
sense.
won.
I award you no points.
Top 5 guys.
And may God
May
have
God have
mercy
mercy
on your
This
on
soul.
your
team is
soul.
good. It's a difficult bad cop scenario.
Yeah,
I
but
felt
you
like I had
attacked
to
his
attack.
best players.
That's the political knowledge. You
Okay.
attack. You got to attack the strengths,
All right.
right? And this small sample size is where I'm at because this is quite a reliable looking team right now.
The judge has ruled and you fail.
Yeah. Well. All right.
So Nick is up 2-1.
That's a public defender's dilemma affair.
All right, the Assassins are the last team in this division. They are 1-2, find themselves in last place here. They're averaging 82.2 points, which would put them in the middle of the other divisions, but in last in this one. The big story here is Jordy Nelson is hurt. We're not sure how long he's going to be out. It's a quad injury, although they are saying it's a 50-50 shot he plays this week. If Jordy goes down, he's probably going to sub in either Larry Fitzgerald or I guess Tyrell Williams would be the other one, which kind of a big drop off there. We're going to let Hillers go first for in the interrogation room with Watson.
Is Jordy Nelson hurt again? Shock and wonder. Who would ever know that the wide receiver 1, Jordy Nelson, would be hurt again? Well, thank God he can still rely on a 90-year-old Larry Fitzgerald. That should fix it. You know what else will fix it? A guy who has 2 games for the Bears that are going to have 9 people in the box the entire season. I'm sure no tape will be compiled on this individual. This team is doomed because they're bad, and they're doomed because they're the worst in their division with no path to success for the playoffs here. Every team in this division is a better and more reliable team on them, and they can't even say that they've got a 0-point defense or a 0-point kicker. What are you going to do? Rely on Jason Witten to save you all year? It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen for you. Marcus Mariota and Deshaun Watson are insufficient at quarterback. This is an unsustainable brief moment of success in what is going to be a sad, long decline for second-tier backup players. And with Ajayi hurt, you're done. You're done.
What brief moment of success are you talking about?
He made the playoffs last year.
Tariq Cohen, essentially.
Because he lost this week, so I'm just wondering.
He lost
No,
in
it's
the
a
playoffs.
brief moment of success for his players and his team in general. Yeah, I mean, Watson was revered as and we talked about it before the podcast. He's doing good. He's making a good team, but this team isn't. The point that he can't win this division, I think, is legit.
Okay, Nick.
I am so glad you took bad cop because it is so easy to play good cop on this team because Marcus
Nice.
Mariota can only keep going up, and I think that there's a lot of upside with him, whether it be for the rest of this year or for the future. Jay Ajayi proves healthy. Tariq Cohen, I think that the Bears need to have something on offense going with them, and Cohen could be that guy because they need to be able to do something else with Jordan. They need to have some kind of something that's not just give the ball to Jordan Howard because he has a broken shoulder. I think that Watson's actually compiled a pretty decent team. I think that his depth is sustainable. I think that he can weather a storm just because Jordy Nelson is hurt. Yeah, there's a lack of depth there, but he has plenty of good options. He has plenty of decent options that can step up and make himself competitive week in and week out.
This one's tough. I'm gonna go with Nick here.
I was robbed.
Even
on
though
that
he
one.
contradicted
That was a
himself. I didn't
clear-
understand your argument about the brief moment of success. It didn't make any sense to me. So I don't know.
Have another drink, killers.
Really, a mild ambiguity is worse than a direct contradiction.
Yes,
In this
because he did it with conviction,
there is
and
no.
you were wavering.
So did I. I
You
didn't
were
get
wavering like
conviction credit.
All right. The Bourbon Division is our next division here. And we're going to start at the top with Patty Van Winkle. Thank you for changing the name, Patty. Love it.
You guys
Sign
go.
Sign of weakness.
Patty Van Winkle. Starts out at 2-1. He's averaging 95 points. I think that puts him at third in the league points wise. News for him this week is Tyler Eifert banged up again. Not really news, more of just this is going to happen. The good news is it's only his knee and his back, so he should be fine.
Oh, okay.
And he may or may not play on Sunday. There's no timetable. They haven't really announced if that's, they're not putting him in IR or anything, but this is going to be a constant thing with him. So anyway, Nick gets to go first on Patty.
Okay, I'm really glad, Patty, that you were able to take a championship caliber team and keep it going on that path. That's been really great for you, considering that you weren't at the draft. You had someone else prompt you, and he actually did all the drafting for you. But your strategy with him actually played out really well. And it sounds like I'm being bad cop. I'm actually really on the good cop side on this. I promise you. I think that Drew Brees is only. I think that your quarterback
it's unfair.
situation
Judge is
is
taking
fine.
my points.
I think that your team is actually set in a really good position. You walked in with solid keepers, and despite the fact that offenses in general have been down, they're going to respond. Your team is going to bounce back, and your team is going to compete continually to be competitive. And I think that this team only needs those couple of players that prove that they're reliable. You have your Julio Jones, you have your Drew Brees. Your running backs are a little bit questionable, but between Tyler Eifert and Charles Clay, I think that this team has the pieces to keep it going. Aside from a fluke injury, I think that this is. I think that Patty has been able to continue managing a very good team into a very good situation.
Billers?
I don't even know how to respond to that. In that this team has been made terrible. There is nothing worth having here. When you say, he's got 95 points, I gotta feel like more than half of that is kicker and defense. You think the Ravens are gonna save you every single week? You're done. They're higher scoring than either of your two quarterbacks. You've got Carson Wentz scoring better than Drew Brees. Who are you gonna rely on here? LaShawn McCoy, for $42 worth of salary, is not showing up for you, and you're got on that same staff of people 3 running backs under 13 points. This is totally unacceptable. You barely got starters. If it wasn't for Julio Jones, this would be the worst receiving core ever assembled. It's an awful team. I don't know, other than the Ravens, that's the only reason you are where you are in a weak division. This is a bad team, and you should be ashamed of it.
I'm gonna give it to Hillers here. I didn't like either argument. I got to be honest, but
one of us has to be right.
All right, Hillary. All right,
because Nick, I was confused.
Merrill, you go. Merrill, you go ahead and go. Merrill, you go ahead and go. What cup are you?
Yeah,
the
seriously.
commissioner.
If it's not bad or good, what is it?
Wait,
yeah,
what?
you go. You go. What is your? You go. You play good cop.
I'm going to go on you guys' teams. This is.
All right.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I was confused, Nick, on your argument. Like, you were kind of sarcastic. It sounded like at first, and I didn't know where you were going with it. And
you weren't good enough.
yeah, so I'll give that one to Hillers. So
I honestly believe mine. I think this team is in big trouble. A 50-point defense is bolstering the performance
so
here.
It's 3-2 right now. Nick in the lead. Hitmen are the next team.
Sure, but I got robbed.
Hitmen find themselves at 1-2. Averaging 90.7 points, right about the middle of the pack. The story for the Hitmen is mainly QB issues and kicker issues. The 2 losses are due to missed field goals by their kicker in the last second of the game. Otherwise, they would have won and be 3-0 right now. Rob Kelly is hurt. Got nothing out of Baldwin, Luck, OBJ, defense, or kicker. Hillers, you're first.
Okay, I'm going to take the hard road here. Don't worry, Mike. It's
well done. You're gonna get style points if you can pull this off.
It's gonna be fine, okay? Kareem Hunt is gonna be the best running back in the history of football, and so it'll be okay. You know what? That Cooper Kupp guy, he looks pretty good. He's getting some catches out there. He's sort of new, right? I bet by the end of the season, people are all like, hey, I wish I'd picked up Cooper Kupp. He's at least as good as the hurt Allen Hurns, the hurt Odell Beckham, the questionable Doug Baldwin. I think you've got plenty going for you here. Those are all big names that people like. They're going to come back. Don't worry that you didn't care about a kicker and a defense and is now biting you in the ass, or that your quarterback is hurt. Just move past it. Just do what you do and move forward. Without Evan here to thwart you, who knows? Sky's the limit. Maybe you get a title this year. I think it's possible. Adrian Peterson could take over that job at any time. Who knows what's going on in Kansas City? It could happen for you. As much as these guys have all collapsed at the same time, there's still the potential for this lineup to pick it up and be stars next week.
What do you mean, who knows what's going on in Kansas City? What is that in reference to?
Their general running back disarray. And that you have one of their people.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Well, both of their people.
I think you guys can hear this.
We are at a police station.
Actually, it's an ambulance station.
Oh, hospital's across the street, yeah.
Yeah, the hospital's across the street. We keep laughing at this team about how this is where players go to die, and eventually this. I mean, I don't want to say. I really don't want to be the person to say this, but we everyone's always kind of thought that in the NFL there was a very likely chance that someone is going to sustain a life-threatening injury whenever it happens on the field. And are we really going to be surprised that should that happen, that it's going to be on the Hitmen's team?
To be honest, I've had players die that were on my team. It wasn't on the field, but in baseball, I had a guy, at least one guy, who died during the season.
Baseball?
Yeah. Well, he was in a car.
That guy?
He was in a car accident off the field.
Jesus!
But,
I was like, what are you doing?
I didn't know what to do. Like, do I drop him? Is that rude? I didn't understand how to handle that.
Yeah.
There should be a special graveyard spot on the rock.
Email the commissioner. Does this count as a retirement?
Yeah, it does. It does. This team. I think that this team is all about the injuries, and I think that the more you hear about the injury reports and the more that you listen to podcasts about how injured a person is, it's just these things keep piling up, and it's just players either don't perform or they get hurt on this team, and that's just kind of the way it goes.
Okay, Nick wins this one.
He didn't even mention your quarterbacks, which are the worst.
Well, I did.
That's the injuries he talked about. Hillers, you said Cooper Kupp was as good as Odell Beckham and Doug Baldwin, which is kind of weird. And then you said the Kansas City running back situation. You said the Kansas City running back situation was in disarray, which could not be further from the truth right now.
Okay, that one's objectively false. So. Okay, I'll give you that one.
You had good cop, and you had one job, which is to say Kareem Hunt was the real deal, and you would have won. But
that was my first sentence. I just managed to botch it later.
Yeah, you meant to say New Orleans, and I know that, but I tried to get you to correct yourself, and you kept going down the road, and I was like, all right, well, that's fine.
In the footnote, I correct, but it was my first sentence. Yeah. I mean, that is your team's only hope.
Weenye is our next team.
He's the Luke Skywalker of the Hitmen.
God help that guy. I feel so bad for what I'm going to do to him.
But I want to go to Tashi Station.
That's what it is, too.
Weenye is the next team. Weenye finds themselves at 1-2. They are averaging 79.9 points, which puts them around 9th place. They have made some good good pickups here. They picked up Chris Carson, which was nice, and they've also got Doug Martin coming back in 2 weeks. Nick, there's no real major injuries on this team that we have to worry about, but those are really the biggest news I'd like to come up with. So, Nick, go ahead, man.
I love this team. This team is amazing. I know that you don't want to hear this, Andy, but I think that top to bottom, you went all in on it. We've talked about this all year, that you've just gone all in for this year. The trades that you've made, the draft picks that you've made, picking up Chris Carson for everything that you've done for this team is just building depth and trying to sustain. If something happens, who is my next guy? It's the next man up mentality, and that's what you have on this team. Anyone who's underperforming right now, I wouldn't worry about it because it's only week 2 in the NFL. Things are going to get better across the board. You're fine.
Hillers.
There's a lack of attention to depth here and a lack of attention to detail that I think is going to bring this team down. And it's a little bit odd in that, for things like tight end, kicker, defense, doesn't seem to know what he's doing, doesn't seem to care. Usually you think, my skill players are fine, but we've seen that bring teams down before, and it's going to probably bring this team down as well. And you say, there's just a couple injuries. it's probably not that bad right now. But those things, they can pile up. They can pile up, and when you've got a wide receiver core that, as much as we love all the names on the wide receiver core, there's not a one of them that has 20 points on the season yet. None of them are breaking through yet. I'm not ready to crown them on any individual year. Football's too crazy from year to year to say that who's going to be at the top. And right now it looks like he's got 5 choices, which means he's going to be disappointed 2 or 3 times, leave points on the bench. It's going to happen. And as far as running backs, you don't know what Doug Martin's going to be. Doug Martin wasn't what people thought he might have been last year. James White, can't count on James White. Todd Gurley, you hope. Okay, you're praying. You hope. We'll see. And then the rest of these guys, total shot in the dark. So, this team could end up with basically no running back core within 2 weeks from now. There's no reason to think that they're necessarily going to rise to the top, other than people kind of like the names on the jerseys of this team. Yeah,
right.
You can't.
Yeah. All right.
No, that's about it. Don't please stop me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good team.
You were going down. You were going down the lineup there, and
no, it's a good team. I thought it was me straining
I'm
to
going to
come
give it
up
to Nick
with
Hillers. He used the tight end kicker defense argument, which I as a judge hate. That precedent.
What do you want me to do? It's a good
not use sugar defenses.
Oh, okay. Let me talk about how shitty Aaron Rodgers is then. That'll save me.
There's ways you could go. And then you said his wide receivers are one-year guys. Mike Evans and A.J. Green are anything but that. But anyway.
As I say.
All right.
What do you want?
So Nick's going to win that one.
But that wasn't quite my point. My point was, from year to year, it's not totally determinative. Which,
Fair
if
enough.
it was, you'd have no fantasy football. There'd be no reason.
You could use that argument on any team, though, to be fair.
That's what I had to do, and that's why I saved it for a team like me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, maybe you should have saved it for this next one, because Peanut Butter Jelly Time is our next team.
No, I get the choice on this one.
You do get the choice on this one. So, man, if you lose this one, they find themselves at 0-3. They're averaging 65.8 points a game. That is, I believe, last. Let me see. Yep, last, just below the 11th place team here. Jimmy Graham is now hurt, but so is Rob Kelly, which means Samaje Perine might get some run for this team. And yeah, that's where we'll leave off. And Hillers, you start us off.
I will, by pointing out the obvious that this is disgraceful and really, really bad. I appreciate
Nick has left the podcast.
That they were.
I know. I don't need to hear what's going to be said.
Okay.
Now, and I thought, good job picking up Kerwin Williams, a week after we knew that it was going to be a committee situation at the price we thought it might be when he was in charge. It's good to know that you're paying attention, but you're done. Your kicker is your highest scoring player. You say you don't like the tight end kicker argument? That's the only argument this team has.
Hey, how much do you guys think Steve Smith is going to go for this transaction period? I think he's going to go for like $30.
Oh, you're just making that up so Brett picks him up. Sorry.
Probably.
Go ahead.
Probably. Not this
Order
week,
in the court.
Maybe in a week or a week and a half. But no, there's no argument to be made. This team has no redeeming elements.
Okay.
Literally none.
Okay. Just to be clear, you don't like this team?
Do you?
No. Okay. No. Nick, you're up.
Good job, little fella. Here you go. Here's a transfer. Here's a participation award. You're trying hard. I know that it's tough to get out there and play with all the big boys, and you're running around really hard. And you almost kicked the ball the other day. So we're gonna give you a trophy. We're gonna give you a little pin, and we're gonna make sure that you feel good about yourself, because your team. It might not be as good as the other teams, but you have some redeeming qualities that you can use to build on in the future. So you have a great personality.
Well, that was really well done, actually.
What?
I appreciate that.
I feel like even a child
I'm gonna give it to Hillers here, just because that's not.
No.
But Nick,
as an 8-year-old, I would have wanted to slap your face for that speech. I would have gone with, "Hey, buddy, how you feeling today?"
Yeah.
Nick, I appreciate the effort there. That was well done.
I
A
mean,
little bit of trash talk in there too, which was good.
No, it was. You shat on him too.
Yeah,
I sat on his front lawn.
it's just not an argument you can win. You got screwed by luck of the draw there.
Wasn't luck. That
I
was
work with what I can. I work with what I got.
Beer division is our next division here. We start at the top with Touchdown Jesus, who are at 2-1, averaging 87.5 points a game, yet still find themselves leading the division. The most recent news article or news for them that is applicable here is the injury to DeMarco Murray. Luckily, he paid $39 for Derrick Henry, which turns out to pay off real well for him. Buck Allen was also a pickup he made, which was looking like that's going to be pretty good for him as well. Nick, you get to lead the way here on Touchdown Jesus.
Oh, division rival, or actually make good analysis. Division rival, make good analysis. I like the team. I think that, again, this team, probably a big part of what this team has going against it is the fact that offenses in general feel like they've been down, and we're waiting for a lot of people to just turn the corner. I think Cam Newton's going to do that. He dropped in, pick him back up again. I think that once Cam Newton kind of turns your corner, that kind of makes this team, that helps elevate this team in terms of points. I don't think that. I think that Cam's kind of bringing this team down a little bit. I mean, he has, yeah. I could go through this roster, but I know that's going to lose me points. So I just want to say that there's a lot of good things going on in this team, and I think that the NFL just needs to knock all the rust off and get going, and this team's going to start flexing its true colors.
Others?
Okay, so let me review. The good argument for this team is you dropped a quarterback, picked him up again, we think he might turn around again, some vague statements about NFL and goodness, and that's it. And I think that's probably about right. I mean, let me list the things that I think you can count on this team this year. Tyreek Hill. End of sentence. The Jaguars' defense is going to get a little bit more abused than they have been, and they will not save this team. Belichick is going to turn on Mike Gillislee sooner or later. It's a fact of life. You're not going to be able to bring yourself to start Ben Roethlisberger over Cam Newton, and you will be punished more times. And who else are we looking for here? Who else is going to save this team? Sooner or later, this is going to come to not just a regular collapse, but like a giant gaping hole collapse with like a sarlacc in it that will digest it for hopefully 1,000 years, but probably just the rest of the season. And this is just going to be really, really ugly. Relying on the Tennessee run game, having invested damn near, $60, $70, $65 in the Tennessee run game is not a winning strategy, has never been, ain't gonna be. And that's all they got, is Tyreek Hill, a quarterback that they dropped, picked up again, and the Tennessee run game, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
I'm giving this to Nick. You had me, Hillers. I liked your opening statement there, but your arguments again, they have no basis in reality. I mean, the Tennessee run game was good last year. It's been good so far this year. I'm not sure where you're going with that one. I don't know.
It's been adequate. It's been adequate. Neither one of them are one half of one Kareem Hunt, and you're going to tell me they're fine?
No. To be fair, no other running back has been one half of Kareem Hunt this year, so that's not a great argument. I mean, if you're going to use that, then every run game stinks.
Like Gillislee has been one half of Kareem Hunt this year.
Yeah, but you shat on him, so that's why it's weird. Now you're contradicting yourself. So
no, it's not going to continue.
Okay.
So you're factually wrong, Judge.
Well, it continued last year when LeGarrette Blount did it, and Gillislee's playing that role in the offense this year, so it could continue.
I appeal.
There were ways you could have attacked this team, which include Bilal Powell, Dez Bryant, and Cam Newton, and you didn't go after them. So
I went after Cam Newton for the first whole bit.
Okay. Not exactly, but yeah.
Again, you're wrong. Appeal.
Go to the tape.
I'm gonna get you on appeal.
You can appeal. That's fine.
Judge says, "Ooh, Nick wins."
So we gotta switch it up here, and because we go to Nick's team here. Nick is at 2-1. He is averaging 72.7 points per game. The news for this team is QB problems. and Gronk, who is now injured. Though we're not sure how serious it is. He practiced today, I think, so it may not be a serious injury, but he is a little dinged up. I'm going to step in for Nick here, but Hillers gets to open up.
Oh, okay. So you said he's averaging what? 38 points, something like that.
72.
35 of which are defense and kicker, and tight end. Which good job backing up Gronkowski with the fleeing by trading away any hope at quarterback for the second best guy to Gronkowski at this point, probably. This is a disaster. All the skill positions, everything that you guys look for to say this team is good, even quarterback, except for Fournette, is not good. It's objectively bad. There is very little hope going on here. And for a team that once was renowned for its amazing wide receiver stable, I'm seeing just a list of number 2s and 3s that, some of them are old, some of them are broke. Sure, you put in a flyer, maybe use them on a flex. You don't have them entirely as your roster, but that's all flex players from hell to breakfast here. And I don't see any real path to redemption here. I see this as a 2-week blip, and that's about it.
All right. Hey, Nick, how you doing? I want to apologize for my partner. He gets a little wound up. We're just going to let him cool off over there in the box for a little bit. Can I get you soda?
I'll kill you!
Some chips, maybe? You need anything? Or
it's buttering me up. I do like that.
Maybe a sandwich? You hungry? Get something. Anyway, I know this is all pretty scary. You've had a rough couple of weeks here. I want to
Sounds like
let
Brett's
you know.
talk.
It is. It does. That's how you know.
But no, you're going to be just fine. Because you're going to help us out, we're going to help you out. I want to inform you of a little legal precedent called regression to the mean. What that means is your quarterbacks have had a couple of bad weeks here. They're not going to continue putting up. You've had an average of you've had total of 2.3 points put up by your quarterbacks in the first 2 weeks. That's not going to continue. You're going to get some points out of that. Zeke Elliott, bad week for you this week, but he's the number 1 running back. You've got Gronk, the number 1 tight end. And you can find quarterbacks. You had Sam Bradford score 28 points in week 1, so you can always plug him in once he comes back and plays for the Vikings. He looked pretty strong. So I want you to not worry here. This is a team I feel like you've got some staples here you can build on if you can just fill in some of these holes. Maybe get you a better flex player. Maybe get you another running back you can plug in if Giovanni Bernard doesn't work out. But if your friends, what do they call themselves? That gang, the Bengals. If those guys get on the straight and narrow, turn it around, and you stay with those guys, and they turn it around, you might be just fine. So I don't want you to panic here. I think you're going to be okay.
Merrill wins. No, I agree with Hiller's analysis the most, even though I don't agree with Hiller as a person. But Merrill did do a good job of making me feel good about my team, so I'm going to give it to Merrill.
You're getting your clock clean, Hillers.
This is. I think the tape will show to any objective viewer that I'm ruling this entire thing. And
Everybody,
shut down by bias judging and fake news.
Everybody, comment on the video below with who you think won. Right,
yes,
right down here in the comment
on each thing. Yeah, put your own score up there.
Put your own scores up there to see who you think won. Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, that's good.
We got 2 teams left. Hiller's Fake Football is our next team here, so I'm going to step in for Hillers, and he'll be judge. But we're going to start. We're going to go here. They are 1-2, averaging 95.4 points a game due to a very solid week 2 number that they put up. Big news for them. He's got Jordan Howard, who's injured. Big stud running back he had coming into the year, was supposed to do some good things, and it started rough for him. And then Thomas Rawls also kind of dinged up and injured, but looks to be maybe coming back soon. Nick, you can open up here with Hillers.
Wow. I can open up with Hillers? Huh. I mean, he has Brady. He's got a really great quarterback, and that's awesome. He's got a running back that's hurt. He's got a rookie running back in Minnesota, and we're not going to go list down the rosters. I know that's bad.
Do you?
I mean, I do, but I mean, You want to talk about boom or bust players, and that's exactly, like, this team is surviving on the fact that he has some good players that put up some big points, and it's not even stars and scrubs, but I think his stars, I can't even, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't even play good cup. I really can't. I'm sorry, I'm so glad I get to go first. You can't. There is so many.
No, you tried to pick and failed. You lose. I'm spoiler alert.
Yeah, I can't. Like this team is just such boom or bust. Like, I can't even. I know that there's a lot of things going on in the NFL right now, and the offenses are trying to catch their groove. But like but his team is what it is right now, and there's nothing else that can really be said about it. It is what it is. He's going to have Brady. He's going to have some big players that are going to put up some big points, but it's not going to be enough to carry his team. And he's just going to have this thing where he's just going to have these kind of weeks where it's like, but Brady did so good. Why did the rest of my team shit the bed? It's like, because the rest of your team sucks.
Hey, Mr. Hillers, how are you? Apologize for keeping you here. We're gonna get you out of here real quick. I want to apologize for keeping you. It's just formalities, we just like to get our information.
No,
straight.
You're good. You already won.
But look, I just want to run through some things here with you. With your story, we really like your story. We like the fact that you've got a good QB, you got a good stable running back, and you got a good stable wide receiver in Michael Crabtree. So you got that 1-2-3 combo that every solid fantasy team is going to want here. You've got Dalvin Cook, that running back I was talking about. That guy is a focus in that offense. He's got 39 touches through 2 weeks. So if he's getting 19, 20 touches a week, those numbers are going to be there. That opportunity is going to be there, and he's going to put up some numbers, especially as good as that offense looked in week 1. So you're going to be just fine there. And Michael Crabtree, he's got 13 targets in 2 weeks, and has proven himself to be quite the red zone target. That guy really loves getting in the end zone, doesn't he? You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, man, that guy loves the end zone. So, let's be honest. And then, down on your bench, you got 2 guys that you can't even use yet because, you're just waiting for your friend to get back in town, Andrew Luck. Once he gets back in town, you're going to be able to plug in, he's going to bring back with him his buddies T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle. You'll be able to plug those guys in if you need to. So, you got some stable guys there you're going to be able to plug in once those guys get back. I know they're on a trip, but don't worry, they'll be back soon. Trust me, I know about Andrew Luck being out of town. So anyway, I just want to say you're going to be fine. And let's be honest, Tom Brady came through and bailed you out anyway an hour ago, so you're free to go.
Yeah. Brilliant analysis, overwhelming victory. Nick, that was a disgrace.
To be honest, Merrill, you could have said, "Hey, Nick." You could have really just said, "Hey, Hillers, fuck Nick."
No, come on. No. Let me ask you for the people watching. Do you think you won that?
I did a horrible job doing my analysis.
Okay, then. We all agree.
It helps to use numbers, I find.
I knew I was going to lose, though. I knew
I
tried taking back up, so...
Yeah, but you got confused and gave up halfway. That's not a winner. You're not going to win.
All right. Dad Dicks are our final team here. This team, man, this is a team that 2 weeks ago was a juggernaut, and this week we're going to see in the power rankings just how far we think they've fallen. They are 1-2. They're averaging 67.3 points per game. That is that's just above the Brett line, and that's pretty rough. So they are the big stories for them. Obviously, David Johnson out for most of the year, which we knew last week, and probably the regular season, and Greg Olsen now probably out for better part of the fantasy regular season, so he's got to scramble to find himself a tight end. Hillers, you get to start out with the Dad Dicks here. Your opening statement.
Okay. Yeah, I need a big win. I'm way behind. All right. Yeah. You know what? We don't have to worry as much as we think we do, right? It's only been 2 weeks, and I think of the people, the young up-and-comers that are maybe going to be the future of teams that we haven't seen yet, I think this team has a few of them. I think there's good reason to be excited about, Austin Hooper and Rex Burkhead and Alvin Kamara. They're getting touches and looks in offenses that are still working it out, or that they have older players in front of them. Adam Thielen in Minnesota is looking like a guy that over time can develop into somebody just really great. It may be a little bit of work to do in quarterback if Kirk Cousins doesn't turn out to be a next great quarterback, but maybe this is just a slow start for them too. I mean, he's proven, you know this better than anyone, Judge, that he can put up huge numbers at inconvenient times for other teams. And so I don't think they have quite as much to worry about as everybody thinks. You don't go from being a team that everyone fears to a team that is the worst in the league for any one player, and that's really all that's happened. And we all love to capitalize it and jump on the weak guy and bring our torches and pitchforks, but there's not as much reason to fear for this team as everybody thinks. This is just guys that are coming up still, and just a small sample size here, and I think they're really going to surprise everybody.
Nick,
how do you go from being one of the teams that everyone fears to being one of the worst teams in the league? Thank you for giving me that segue. I don't understand how this team, who walked in with Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson for combined like less than $40, with so much money to spend, still has such a shitty team. You have your quarterback play is very mediocre, which yes, Kirk Cousins will step up and be whatever he is. But you have Le'Veon Bell, and then what do you have? What do you have after that? Your wide receivers are as bad as mine. A whole bunch of number 2 wide receivers. Your one receiver broke his foot, and now you're relying on Austin Hooper. Your team is almost as bad. Your team is just as bad as mine, and I know that's not going to be reflected in the power rankings. But your team somehow has been mismanaged so poorly that I really feel that with David Johnson out, unless you make some big moves, this is going to be what's going to be on pace for your team.
the jury has reached a verdict, and we find the defendant guilty, giving Nick the victory on this one.
Of course.
Hillers, you argued good cop.
Here.
You argued good cop for the dad nicks and didn't once mention Le'Veon Bell. I don't know how you do that. Like it's
inherently obvious to the casual observer. I don't need to
Is that what
harp
you're going
on
to tell the jury?
Le'Veon Bell.
Like, is that what you'll tell your client when you fail?
That's
him
what
in
I'll
the
tell the
courtroom?
jury
You'll
on
say-
appeal for
you'll
this
say,
biased
"Oh,
courtroom.
I didn't tell him about your alibi because it's inherently obvious that you weren't there." You know, is that what you'll do? So.
Well, no, it's like if
I just want to say,
someone
Hillers, thank
committed a
you for
crime,
your.
You'd be like, oh, he's not a convict.
Again,
I didn't know how I was going to start that off, Hillers, until you said you can't go from being one of the most feared teams to being one of the worst teams. As soon as you said that, I wrote that down. I was like, this is my line. I know how to go now.
and you use your own line against you, true, which is pretty strong. Which, you know.
Oh, it's not strong. He just mentioned he had no idea what he was going to
It
do.
was strong. Judge says it was strong. Strong.
That's why I'm going to win on appeal. This court, I can't get a fair
The
trial.
appeal is
in
the court
in
of
this
public
dis-
opinion, and
in
that
this
will be in the
district.
comment section. Please leave a comment down below and let us know who you think won
All right.
based on score. So, all right, let's get to our
District
power
is out
rankings
to
here
get me.
and wrap this up, boys. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go 12-7, and Nick being the winner of this resoundingly. Actually, Nick, while you're doing that, I'm going to count up the wins. here.
Winner.
I lost count. I can't count that high. No one knows how badly I beat Hillers.
You can't count the 6.
It was at least 7. It was 7, and then Merrill won 2, so
I feel
that's
like any
9, and then there's 3.
sub-pen
So I think it
argument
was
is
7
still
to
making
It
my
was
argument.
7. Yeah, it was 7-3.
7 with 3 biased non-wins in there at least.
I mean, I almost beat you, Hillers, and I only argued for 2 teams.
You should drink more.
I should drink more. This is pathetic.
So, starting with the power rankings, going from 12 to 6.
All right.
I
12
have
to 7. 12 to 7.
Yeah, with that too. So I have
Christ.
starting with the worst team, me,
Wow.
and then it's Brad's, and then it's Choop with Hillers, Hitman, Assassins, and the Assassins.
You have the Assassins twice in a row.
Twice! And
It's just the Assassins at 7. It's running out of Fox, PBJ, Choop, Hillers, Hitmen, Assassins.
Okay. Gotcha. I misheard. Hillers.
I will go.
There's no-
Don't get me wrong. Your team is bad, Nick, but it's not Brett bad yet.
Still
I'm
above
gonna
the
have-
Brett line.
Yeah, you're above the Brett line. It's like the 39th parallel of fantasy football. It's PBJ, running out of Fox, and I dropped the dad dicks real low on this one. Now I have them at 10, with Assassins at 9, Winye at 8, and Hitmen at 7.
Okay. Mine are very similar, well, except for Winye, which I think we really disagree with you on, I'm going to guess. But I have PBJ at 12.
No, once I was looking at them again, they should have been way higher. But whatever.
Yeah,
it's a week
okay.
to.
I have PBJ at 12. I have Renegade Fucks at 11. Dad Dicks at 10, who were our unanimous number 1 last week, right? Maybe, I think.
No, they were not. No.
Oh, I mean preseason number 1, I think, though.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have myself Hitman at 9, Pillars at 8, Assassins at 7. Nick.
Okay. So I have so it's TDJ at 6, Patty Van Winkle at 5, Duplex at 4, Winier at 3, Dad Dicks at 2, and EBS at 1.
Dad Dicks at 2 still.
I do. I think that this team's still really strong, and I think that you can't look at the year-to-date points as a barometer on this team because you have things like Devontae Parker, who only played 1 game. I think Brandon Marshall's going to turn the corner. DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson really loves throwing to him. I think this team actually has still a lot of upside on it.
Okay.
So just to be clear, your vote on that one is going to go for me on who won the arguments.
Well, no. Court doesn't always go. Courtroom doesn't always go on who's right.
No.
Court goes on who makes the best argument.
I was right, and Nick said
OJ
so
got off.
himself.
Yeah, let's reference O.J. Simpson.
Really? That's your defense
Re-
here?
OJ, yep.
It's just
You
the
know, 'cause
most
there have
glaring
been
example. There are
there have
thousands a day of court cases.
There's lots of
Are
innocent
wrong.
people, famous innocent people that have
All right,
been
so hey,
found,
have I-
but whatever.
All right, Hillary.
Anyway.
6-1.
Mine are myself at 6, Patty at 5, TDJ at 4, the Choops at 3, EBS at 2, although if they keep on, they might drop further, and then Duplex at 1.
Okay.
I'm believing that this might actually be the year of their 4th championship. It has all the symptoms.
Yeah. But a little underwhelming after the draft, like, they're solid, but they're not scary, blah, blah, and then here they are, yeah.
And then the wins rack up, and the averages are like 90, and then championship.
Yep. All right. At 6, I've got the Choops. At 5, I've got Patty. At 4, I've got EBS. At 3, I have TDJ. At 2, I've got Winier. And at 1, I've got the Duplex. Just because the Duplex has been most consistent, 2 weeks right at or above 100 points. So, and it's not based on defense and kicker, which a lot of other scores have.
That's true.
They've actually put up solid points based on the other positions. So, I don't know. I think that's the most solid lineup we've done so far. Again, this changes week to week. Anyway, thanks for sticking with us through this, guys. What'd you guys think of a good cutback Cat?
I liked it.
Don't answer. Oh no, I liked it, but I think I'll like it more when I'm vindicated by non-biased.
By a federal court.
Yeah, you guys. This is partisan fake news that I lost this one. I think I killed it.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, Nick, for Hillary.
Give me votes if you like that email article.
This is Merrill signing off, asking you to comment down on the article below.
Yes,
Let us know who
that
you
article
think.
was amazing, Hillers.
All right,
There you go. There's votes.
there's votes. We'll talk to you guys later.